AI is one of the most popular tools right now. There are many online platforms and models that people use to prompt and ask questions about everything from recipes to retirement planning. The question, though, is how reliable are these models in terms of actually providing accurate advice when it comes to retirement planning? And just to test the scenario, what we were previously discussing about federal employee retiring at age 60 with $860,000 in their TSP. Well, I prompted one of these AI platforms, and I'm laughing only because it gave the response that anybody would want to hear. Short answer, yes, it's possible, but not based on the TSP alone. Let's break it down. You can retire at age 60. What does the $860,000 in the TSP actually give you? And then it just talked about an income stream and whether or not your home is paid off or you have major debts. It never talks about anything about tax planning. Is this all in traditional TSP or not? Have you met the age requirements for retirement? Are you planning to enroll in Medicare Part B? And on and on and on. What are your thoughts on using AI platforms or using AI models to provide reliable information when it comes to retirement planning?
So it's a great question, right? I mean, I honestly believe that AI is a phenomenon, right? I think they're good and bad to AI. So I'm not one of those financial advisors that will kind of like speak ill about like AI. There's a lot of things that it can help you with from a brainstorming point of view. But when it comes to your retirement planning, I would be very, very skeptical using AI, right? Because we have to look at this. So as financial advisors, most financial advisors like to talk about numbers and all that, but we are in the business of helping people to enjoy a profound retirement. And in that, there's a relationship component of it, right? Our job is to be able to sit with clients, really try to understand, talk to them and understand what their background is, what their goals are, what their values are, their family dynamic, things that are important to them, and then be able to come up with a plan and to be able to help them to retire comfortably. And so there is some sort of like a relationship, emotional component to that, but also I think profoundly, mainly the fact that we can sit in front of them and understand how they feel, look in their eyes and then see that there's some sort of like hesitation, there's an excitement, there's some sort of like, anxiety, whatever it is. And you cannot get that from AI, right? So people that usually will come to us with their financial plan thinking that I went to AI and prompt AI and this is what AI told me, I think that's a big mistake. Because as you know, the output that you're getting from AI is as good as what you put in, right? So we got to understand, what are you telling AI to do for you? And in order for you to be correct or be spot on in that, you got to have a good sense of like what retirement planning looks like. So from our end as a financial advisor, there's a lot of component into retirement planning, like we call the retire happy piece. There are 5 key axioms that you need to be able to look into in totality to be able to kind of like craft a very good retirement plan for individuals, right, or clients. Unfortunately, you don't get that from AI.
Nope. Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. If you're not putting the full context, the totality of the circumstances into the prompt to begin with, there's no way for the model to even consider all of the planning points. And like you said, it's not sentient. It doesn't understand what your concerns are, what's most important to you, what your priorities are. All of that is missing. And the even bigger danger, and unfortunately, I've seen this, my own experience, is that there are certain things that the AI models do very well, and there are other areas where they have limitations.
Absolutely.
And so the model wants to respond to your prompt. That's what its job is. And even though it's very good at aggregating and synthesizing large amounts of information and very quickly, it will fill in gaps where there's a lack of clarity or lack of information. And I had an experience last year where I was looking up some regulation that I knew the answer to, and the model provided a completely false response and then hallucinated, made up an OPM regulation passage. It just made it up.
Yeah.
Now imagine there was a federal employee planning their retirement based on hallucinated information. That could be very dangerous.
You know, it could be very dangerous. And then in that scenario, my simple question to that individual is, hey, would you trust AI to be your doctor, your medical doctor? And the answer was what? No, I'm not going to do that. Would you trust AI to be a lawyer in a court? They would say what? No, I'm not going to be able to do that. Well, what's common between a lawyer and a medical doctor and a financial advisor? We all in the business to serve that individual. A medical doctor is responsible for what? For their health. In case they get sick, they go to a medical doctor. A lawyer, when they're in trouble or whatever it is in a court, they want an individual to be there side by side to advocate for them or to fight for them. Then why would you want ChatGPT to replace your financial advisor? So I think a lot of times it boils down, in my opinion, it boils down to emotions. People have an emotional attachment to their finances, hence more reason why they want to get control of it, or maybe because they feel like, okay, well, if I ask ChatGPT, I have control over it. ChatGPT is going to tell me something, whereas I think that's a wrong way to look at it. I want you to look at it more like, this is your retirement. You work so hard for this. Having a financial planner, financial advisor in that, it's more like a partnership. We're working in partnership. That way we can help you and then be able to guide you and be able to point out the blind spots, right? The things that you're not thinking, we want to bring that to you. That way, at least, you can make smart and confident choices and then be able to retire happily ever after. I believe that you're not going to get that with AI.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about that response? Is your analogy about coaching, seeing all of the blind spots, seeing the hazards in the road, because when you're learning to drive, you have multiple reps in order to be able to get proficient at it.
Sure.
The first time you get behind the wheel, you can ask a large language model all you want, how do you drive? But until you get behind the wheel, you're not going to learn. How many opportunities do you get to retire and learn how to do it correctly? You get one. And so if you were getting behind the wheel of a car and driving across country, would you want to do it alone? Or do you want to have a coach in the front seat as your navigator, calling out hazards in the road, watching your blind spots, making sure you get safely and happily to your destination during your retirement journey?
Yeah. And you know, as you know, I am all about like analogies. I like to take complex things to put things in more like perspective, right? Well, it's no different. You know, I always have these conversations with folks about, you know, the value of a financial advisor. So in this scenario, let's look at an example of like, you know, while you're flying, right? So you go to the airport and then they tell you, Seth, there are two planes going to your destination. One plane with the airfare is cheaper, probably $100 less, but there's no pilot. It's just a machine there, you know, AI that you can press the button and there you go. If there's turbulence or whatever, then you are on your own. Versus what they say, there's another plane over here, has a pilot with 20 or 30 years experience. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit higher, a little bit more money fare-wise. But, you know, if something happens, at least you know that you're in the hand of an experienced pilot who has seen at least a lot of things, right? Now, which one would you rather do? I bet you there's going to be people that would probably say, I want to take the AI one, but which one would you rather do?
I'm getting on the plane with the pilot,
There you go.
especially if Sully is the pilot.
well, there you go. So my point here is, because there's the risk that you're going to take to jump on that plane and then be able to fly with just maybe AI, the risk is just too grand for you to take, right? Sometimes we gotta sit back and then think, at the end of the day, going to AI and all of that, I think it's more like an emotional piece with your money. I think retirement is big. This is what you work for. Some people, they've been working for like since they were 13. I mean, they work all their life, they save all this money so that they can have a profound retirement. And you don't want to just basically take all of that and then trust it with one hot thing like in AI. I think that would be a big mistake. So financial advisors bring tremendous amount of like value when you get the good one, right? And I happen to believe that we do it right.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And you talked earlier about doctors and lawyers. Doctors take a Hippocratic oath. We take a fiduciary oath.
Exactly.
I've taken multiple oaths in my life. I don't take my fiduciary oath any less seriously than I did when I was a law enforcement officer or when I joined the military. I am bound to only act in the best interest of the people that we work with.
By the way, that's fantastic. Last time I checked, I don't think AI has a fiduciary responsibility.
Nope,
right?
not at all.
Yeah, there you go. Seth, this is perfect because number one, you are a former federal government employee, and then now you are a finance advisor. So if you think about a federal employee who is thinking about retirement, and in that scenario whereby they have $860,000 at age 60, what are some of the risks involved in like using AI for retirement planning?
So if you notice, you look closely, go on any of these platforms, any of these models, there's always a disclosure at the bottom that says, this can make mistakes. This can hallucinate. So make sure you fact check. How many people really go to the effort of fact checking everything that they get because it sounds credible? I had an experience where I was just trying to find a particular citation or regulation. I knew what the answer was. I prompted the model and it completely fabricated a result. Now, thank God I knew what the correct answer was. And I was able to push back and I was able to find the citation correctly on my own. But if I was a federal employee who was basing retirement experiences on a hallucinated answer provided by an AI model, that's a house of cards that's just waiting to get knocked down.
Wow.
So I think it's a very, very dangerous gambit to do retirement planning, especially in the federal workforce, where there are a lot of different regulations that apply, where there's a lot of coordination between benefits, that it's just, there's too much at stake to rely on an AI platform to do your retirement planning for you. I cannot overstate how these are subject to make mistakes. There are limitations to these models. They do certain things very well. I'm all for the power of AI to enhance our workforce, but it can't do everything.
Yeah.
And understanding that limitation and talking to a financial professional can make the difference between a profound retirement, a prosperous retirement, or a less than.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but if I spent 30 years in the federal government making sacrifices on behalf of the American people, I don't want to gamble my retirement on a response from an AI model.
Yeah, Seth, you know what? Wow, that's fantastic. And then because we're speaking about like federal benefits, right? And then so you see, when you make mistake, if you get an opportunity to go and correct that mistake, hopefully you can make things right. Federal government employees, if they use AI and then get the wrong information and then be able to use that, so some of those decisions that they've made with their benefit, if I'm not wrong, I don't think you can correct those back. I think
Oh, think about how many, you know this as well as I, how many benefits do you have? A very short window. Once you make that decision, it is locked in. And if you're basing your decision on incorrect information, that's it. You have to suffer the consequences. I personally don't want to see anybody suffer consequences based on incorrect information they gathered, using an AI model or AI platform.
Yeah, and then what's the recourse there? Then you're gonna go back and say what AI is responsible for that?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you said, AI has no fiduciary oath. AI has no responsibility for your decisions. Ultimately, it rests on the employee. And so, yeah, I think it's very important to make sure you consult with a professional and make sure that you're getting accurate information.
So God forbid, hey, if that mistake was about survivor benefit, that would probably be really, really bad. I mean, if they end up not choosing a survivor benefit and then God forbid something happens to them.
That's one of the most dangerous areas because, as you and I both know, your spouse's continued health insurance coverage could really depend upon whether or not you have spousal survivor benefit coverage. And if you miss that window, there's no going back. There's no recourse.
Yeah. So would it be advisable for somebody, for this individual, instead of using AI to prompt for retirement planning, would it be useful in that scenario for AI to see what are the qualities of a good finance advisor, a fiduciary finance advisor?
I think that would be a better search, a better prompt of the model. Or you could just Google Axiom Value, come see us, and you're in good hands because we're going to do comprehensive, holistic planning, looking at the totality of the circumstances and making sure that you have a co-pilot on your retirement journey, getting to your destination safely and happily.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Well, not only are we going to give them the comprehensive and the holistic view of it, I think what's unique about us is because you're one time a federal employee, so you're in their shoes. And then most of the people that we actually meet with, the federal government employees, they spend decades and decades, right? Working for the federal government. They don't complain. They don't come from much, right? All their entire life, they basically train them to save for retirement. And then what they're looking for somebody to guide them. I understand that because, growing up from my native country, I understand all of that. So that unique, characteristics that we both have, I think that's why we do well with a lot of federal government employees. And then our knowledge, and then our, how we care about our federal government employees. You hear this all the time. People come to the office and talk about, how we do things differently from other finance advisors. So if you're a federal government employee, you're watching this channel and you see some value, please subscribe because this is where we get profound information for you so that you can take action on your retirement and then enjoy a confident retirement. So until then, we'll see you later. Take care.